Chinese food is one of America's favorite cuisines, but the sad truth is that many of the dishes found in Chinese restaurants are actually incredibly unhealthy. Here are some of the ones you'll want to stay away from. A beloved staple in American Chinese restaurants, General Tso's chicken isn't actually all that popular in China today. While the dish is named after General Tso, one of the Chinese military's best-known historical figures, people in the Hunan region of China, where he once lived, don't really eat the dish much anymore. Although the original recipe didn't involve sugar, the American Chinese version is full of the stuff. And while many enjoy that sweet and savory pairing, General Tso's high sugar content is a big part of what makes it so unhealthy. Prevention.com has called General Tso's saucy blend of cornstarch, orange juice, rice vinegar, and sugar the recipe for a diabetic coma. Speaking to eat this, not that, a dietitian and nutritionist explained that one order can pack in almost 2,400 milligrams of sodium per serving, as well as 1,578 calories, a whopping 88 grams fat, and 62 grams of sugar, which is the equivalent of almost 3 days' worth based on American Heart Association recommendations. Based on the name, beef and broccoli must be a pretty smart choice when ordering Chinese, right? Wrong. A serving of the salty black bean sauce used in beef and broccoli may contain more than a day's worth of sodium. In fact, a single dish of beef and broccoli at a restaurant like P.F. Chang's can pack 770 calories, 33 grams of fat, 33 grams of sugar, and 2,110 milligrams of sodium. To put that into context, the American Heart Association recommends capping your daily sodium intake at less than 1,500 milligrams, meaning you can't even chow down more than 2/3 of beef and broccoli before soaring over that number. Still, there are at least a few easy ways you can cut sodium levels and make this dish at home. Rather than using the standard mix of soy sauce, dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, and sesame oil to flavor your dish, try the American Heart Association's lighter variation, made with low-sodium soy sauce, red wine, and honey, to slash the recipe's sodium levels down to something far more manageable. They may look harmless, but egg rolls and spring rolls are anything but healthy. The problem with these little snacks isn't so much what they're made from, or the number of calories they contain when raw, though. It's what happens to them when they're cooked. That relatively small and lean spring or egg roll can soak up fat like a sponge when it's dropped into a deep fryer, increasing its calorific content by 30% or more. In fact, a single fried spring roll can have as many as 150 calories and 4 grams of fat, while a larger fried egg roll can pack 200 calories and between 5 to 8 grams of fat. All that added fat is bad news, especially if you make a habit of ordering these fun little snacks and pairing them alongside an equally unhealthy entree. Chinese orange chicken is a wonder of modern cooking. Chunks of white or dark chicken meat cut into bite-sized pieces, dredged in flour, fried until golden and crispy, and then served in a sweet, zesty sauce. Interestingly, this isn't a traditional Chinese dish at all. In fact, orange chicken is 100% American, being a creation of a chef working in a Panda Express kitchen in Hawaii back in 1987. He tweaked an already existing dish, battering and frying the chicken and making the sauce significantly sweeter. Sadly, it's those modifications to the dish that make it so incredibly unhealthy. According to Panda Express, one 5.7-ounce serving of orange chicken contains 490 calories and 19 grams of sugar. A dish at P.F. Chang's is even worse, at 1,160 calories and 55 grams of sugar. One nutritionist from the Center for Science in the Public Interest told Newsweek that when you order dishes like orange chicken, you're basically just downing hunks of fried meat. They cautioned, "What you're getting is 3/4 of a pound of deep-fried meat, garnished with vegetables." Vegetable lo mein is a good example of a food that sounds fairly harmless, but in reality, is actually pretty unhealthy. While you could argue that it's basically just noodles and vegetables, the portion size is usually so large that you're getting way more carbs than you need. Plus, the dish is made with large quantities of oil, which is obviously never a good thing. The noodles in lo mein alone can clock in at 200 calories per cup, with the standard serving of the dish having upwards of 900 calories. As one dietitian explained in an article for Berkeley Wellness, this dish offers plenty of sodium, oil, and refined carbohydrates, but very little in the way of fiber and protein. If you can't live without lo mein, however, you can at least make it healthier. In an article for Livestrong, a nutrition expert suggested asking your chef to use broth instead of oil when preparing the lo mein. They explained, "This is called a vegetable stock velveted preparation and reduces the number of calories in the dish. If you're cooking lo mein at home, ramp up the amount of vegetables you use and dial the noodles way back, and the final dish should actually turn out as healthy as it sounds." Dumplings have a fascinating history dating back many centuries. As legend has it, they were first created by a Chinese herbal medicine specialist and filled with meats, spices, and vegetables, in the hope that they'd help people fight off illness during an especially brutal winter. Because the weather at the time was so bad, he fashioned his dumplings into the shape of tiny ears, hoping they would improve circulation and help people to avoid developing frostbite on their ears, which was an especially common problem at the time. Fast forward to today, and dumplings may still be shaped like ears, but they're not quite as healthy as they once were, especially if you choose to enjoy yours cooked in oil. Of course, dumplings can be healthy, but much depends on if they were steamed, pan-fried, or deep-fried. Steamed dumplings are the leanest option in terms of fat content, with pan-fried being obviously less healthy and deep-fried being the least healthy of all. And even pan-fried dumplings can contain around 460 calories and 20 grams of fat, which is a lot, especially for an appetizer. Want to look after yourself? Steam them or leave them. The fried rice served in many Chinese restaurants is a dish that starts out relatively healthy enough, but is soured by massive portion sizes and loads of added fat. Men's Journal warns, fried rice is undeniably bad for you, setting you back 450 calories and 14 grams of fat. One nutritionist told Newsweek that the average serving of fried rice is simply far too large for the average person, providing 4 or 5 cups of super oily rice, minimal vegetables, and quote, basically 3/4 of a day's calories. If all that weren't unhealthy enough, leftover fried rice can harbor bacteria and toxins, and is so likely to make people sick that physicians have dubbed the phenomenon fried rice syndrome. This is because dry foods like rice often contain Bacillus cereus, or B. cereus.
Blue zones are where it's still cold. The red zones are fine, bacteria all killed, but the blue zones, plenty of bacteria still thriving.
When these foods are heated and left out, this bacteria can trigger production of a toxin, which causes severe stomach pain, vomiting, and diarrhea. Many of the Chinese dishes Americans love were actually dreamed up in the US and specifically crafted to appeal to American palates. And nowhere is this more evident than in the story of sweet and sour sauce. Sweet and sour originated in the early 1900s. Chinese food was gaining popularity in the United States, but spices were scarce, and few restaurants had the time to cook their foods using the traditional methods they were used to. In order to combat this, chefs created an efficient and crowd-pleasing sauce to coat deep-fried chunks of meat. This sauce included, among other ingredients, canned pineapple and ketchup. And that's how foods like sweet and sour pork became Chinese restaurant staples. Ever since it was created, sweet and sour pork has been a poor performer nutritionally. The dish typically serves up 16 teaspoons of sugar and is so calorie-dense that WebMD warns, even if you split this entree with someone, you're still likely to get more than 800 calories and 48 grams of fat. There's no denying that crab rangoon is seriously delicious, but it's also one of the least healthy appetizers you can order at a Chinese restaurant. As one dietitian tells Fit Day, think about it. It's cream cheese and a tiny amount of crab meat that is breaded and deep-fried and then served with a sugar-laden sweet and sour sauce. According to Calorie King, a standard 4-piece serving of crab rangoon weighs in at 470 calories and just 11 grams of protein. In comparison, you're getting 50 grams of carbohydrates and 26 grams of fat, 9 of which are saturated. And don't think that just because you're eating seafood, the crab in your crab rangoon is that nutritious. Instead of actual crab, crab rangoon often contains imitation crab meat, which is typically made from Alaska pollock that's been minced, rinsed, strained, and dyed. It's also blended with sugar, salt, and other ingredients, and lacks the omega-3s that usually make seafood so beneficial to your health. On top of that, imitation crab meat can contain upwards of 600 milligrams of sodium in just 3 ounces, a truly staggering amount. Spare ribs comes from the bottom section of the ribs and breastbone of a pig, just above where bacon originates. Coated in 5-spice powder and soy sauce, Chinese spare ribs are also usually a brilliant red color. Ideally, this coloring comes from red wine yeast and nanru, which is made from fermented bean curd. However, according to Bon Appetit, lesser places will go the easy route and rely on food coloring or jarred sauces that are basically thickened mixtures of sugar, salt, and red number 2. Whichever option you end up with, pork spare ribs are always going to be full of fat. WebMD warns that one order can pack in 1.5 times the sodium you should get in a day, along with 64 grams of fat, and can contain as much sugar as a whole can of soda. More than that, one nutritionist told Newsweek that the fat and calories you'll find in a single serving of barbecue spare ribs is equivalent to that found in 2 full pork chops. They may be delicious, but don't go thinking they're anything but a nutritional disaster. Szechuan shrimp may sound like an ideal healthy menu option, but be careful. Appearances can be deceiving. Shape.com warns, stir-fried shrimp and vegetables in a spicy sauce seems like a guilt-free pick, but the sauce is often oily, meaning your order racks up around 700 calories. While it's obviously a tasty dish, mostly down to all those spices, shallots, peppers, and water chestnuts, the Center for Science and the Public Interest has cautioned that dish can also pack way too much sodium, with some servings containing between 2,300 and 3,000 milligrams of the heart-stopping compound. And even if you can get past the nutritional challenges, there are a few other reasons why you may want to keep shrimp off your plate. According to a 2015 Consumer Reports study, 60% of frozen shrimp were found to be contaminated with potentially harmful bacteria. Beyond that, not all shrimp is responsibly sourced, and it can be hard to know when you're ordering from a restaurant. Best bet? Leave it in the sea. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Health Digest videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.